I'd like to ask Cantor Israel Singer and Rabbi David Seth Kirshner, as well as Cantor Jen Cohen and Rabbi Michael Peltz, if you folks could come forward. Rabbi Linden, okay, I didn't know about that. So, Cantor Jen Cohen, Rabbi Linden. Okay, good. Okay, you may be seated. So we're going to begin our service calling upon Cantor Israel Singer and Rabbi David Seth Kirshner of Emmanuel in Gloucester. That's Felicia and David Shalom's congregation to chant, and then the English of the 23rd Psalm.
The 23rd Psalm, Ben-Avi. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God allows me to lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters. God leads me on a path of righteousness, for that is God's name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, because God is with me. God's rod and God's staff comfort me now and at all times. And even if a table is prepared in front of my enemies, I know that my head is anointed with oil, and surely my cup overflows, and that goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. We shall all dwell in the house of God forever. And together let us say, Amen.
And Psalm 15, we call upon Cantor Jen Cohen and Rabbi Stephen Lindemann from Ann and John's congregation, Shalom in Cherry Hill.
O Lord, who shall dwell in your sanctuary? Who shall abide upon your holy mountain? He who lives with integrity, does what is right, and speaks the truth in his heart, who has no slander on his tongue, who does no evil to his fellow, who does not reproach a neighbor. In his eyes, a vile person is despised, but he honors those who revere the Lord. He takes note even to his own harm, and does not change. He does not take a bribe against the innocent. Whoever does these things shall stand firm forever.
Thank you very much. Friends, we have come together sharing our profound sorrow to bid farewell to Nat Talbotville. We recall the profound blessings of Nat's life. We thank God for all that was so good and true in his life, and for the very precious memories we shall adore. Eternal God, Creator, merciful Father of all, your children down in grief seek light to dispel the gloom which is upon us all. Be gracious to those who mourn, for they are in distress. Bless them with your compassion. Ease their burden of sorrow. Send them light and peace, for as it is written, fear not, for God is with you. Be not dismayed, for he is your God. He will strengthen you and help you and sustain you with his power. And let us say amen. Amen. On these high holy days, we collectively stand before God for judgment, facing the ultimate questions. Where have we been? What have we done? In what ways must we strike out on a new path? As our beloved Associate Rabbi Ari Lucas explained this past Shabbat, the Satan, the Satan, not Satan as in the Christian tradition, but the prosecuting attorney on high, seeks to convict us in God's eyes. Acting and facing off against the Satan is our Shaliach Tzibor, acting as our Melitz Yosher, our advocate on high. And for 60 plus years, here at CAI, in a high holiday configuration of seats much like this one, our Shaliach Tzibor par excellence, our Melitz Yosher, has been our irreplaceable man, Zichron Livracha, Naftali Alt, Ben Shmuel, and Sister Cohen. Nat's davening voice was not just powerful, and it was powerful. It was authentic. Its nusach touched our souls. Its message registered with the Almighty. Last Friday, at Nat's hospital bedside, Nat told me, he said, Rabbi, I had never missed a Rosh Hashanah. Not Polish anti-Semitism, not the Holocaust, not Siberian labor camps could keep me away. This year, Nat's body passed away at Rosh Hashanah. But his soul ascended to Olam Haba as our Melitz Yosher face to face with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. My text for this morning is Avinu Malkeinu, because that's the classic prayer pleading with us to God. Talmud Tanya Beit and 25 Bet tells us that Rabbi Akiva, great sage, prayed these words, Avinu Malkeinu, on behalf of the entire Jewish people, and his prayers were answered. Therefore, our sages expanded the list of Akiva's supplications, and forming the pivotal section of the Chayal Matzah. I'm going to select 3 of these bakashot, these requests, of Avinu Malkeinu, as the structure of my remarks. The first, Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha. Oh God, we are all imperfect. We need to accept our sins and to do better in the year ahead. Nat's remedy for the imperfections among the Jewish people was to create an extraordinary mishpacha as a role model to us all, and he did. As Nat told everybody, our neighbors in Florida envied me and myself because our children never left us alone during our medical challenges. They came to Florida week after week in shifts. Nat learned family devotion from his revered parents, Shmuel and Sabina. He consciously modeled his life in accord with their exceptional Talmud Jewish values. Nat was a deeply devoted brother to his siblings, to Ike and Sylvia, to Rose and Julie, to whom we extend our sincere and deepest sympathies. He was deeply connected as well to these siblings, to Faye and Sal, to Sylvia and Hai, to Rose, to Sam and Lita, to Ida, to Lois and Norman. And he was a patriarch to his many, many nieces and nephews, grandnieces and grandnephews on both sides. We extend our deepest sympathies to all of you folks, incredible number of people. Ike's remarks will speak on behalf of the siblings. And that was an incredible force of Yiddishkeit, of love, of goodness, of role modeling, of strength, of generosity. Indeed, alamilas of everything to his children, to Anne and John, to Jane and David, to Sue and Richard, to Bill and Lois, to Felicia, and to David, Zichrono Livracha, and to his beloved grandchildren, to Michael and Eliza, to Talia, to Daniel and Matt, to Sarah and Mike, to Becca, to Avi, Lauren, to Shira, to Jacob, Gabriella, to Sam, to Hannah, to Gabrielle, and to Gordon, and to his precious great-grandchildren, to Donnie, to Dahlia, to Orly, to David, to Hadass, to Mabel, and to Ayal. Quite a few of the children and the grandchildren will speak in tribute to their father, their Zeta. Most of all, Nat shared a remarkable married life of 68 years with his beloved Ashes B, forming an unparalleled role model couple to us all. B's sister Sylvia, blessed memory, told me the story of Nat's initial arrival in town. He was a greenhorn. He hadn't been that long in America, and he was set up on a blind date with an American-born girl in a small town in Caldwell. Nat didn't drive, never drove. He took the bus here to Caldwell, and he was nervous when he got to the bus stop. Should he go through with this? Sylvia said to me, "Thank God Nat got off the bus." As Nat often said, with tears of gratitude and affection, Nat worked nights, all night, every day. And it was Bee who nurtured and raised the wonderful Talbotfeld children. As Nat said, she nurtured their terrific spouses as well. She nurtured the many precious grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And so, Bee, lovingly with Nat, joined to be the matriarch and patriarch, the grandparents of our entire shul. Nat and Bee have given us limitless love and affection, felling in our symptoms and crying at times of sadness. They will always remain the exemplary couple, the example of marital bliss and devotion. The second of the bakashot in Avinu Malkeinu that I select, Avinu Malkeinu Batel Machshavot Soneinu. O God, thwart the plans of those who seek to harm the Jewish people, like his revered father Shmuel, like the other members of the Talbotfeld extended family. Nat, a Holocaust survivor, was 100% devoted to protecting the well-being of Israel and of Jews throughout the world. He followed the philosophy of Jabotinsky, of Cherut, of Zionism in all of its manifestations, Ahavat Yisrael, love of fellow Jew above all else. Nat's deep passion for Jewish peoplehood and continuity has been evident in his remarkable generosity supporting projects inside Israel, pro-Israel groups here in the U.S., Jewish educational institutions like Camp Ramah, James Solomon Schechter Day School in Sharon, Massachusetts, conservative Jewish organizations like the Sorti Movement, and for building a micro-community of renown at the Shabbat and Yom Tov meals in the Talbotfeld home and that famous Talbotfeld sukkah. In tribute to this peoplehood component of Nat's life, the family has requested that we will later on conclude our ceremony with Hatikva. The last of the three bakashot that I want to emphasize was Avinu Malkeinu Batel Me'aleinu Kol Gzerot Kashot. O God, thwart any harsh decree against us. Nat's remedy to aid in this generic plea was to build an exemplary local Jewish community here in the Caldwells. Nat's role at CAI has been beyond the scope of my words today, but here are just a few examples. First of all, Nat as Gabbai. I see the drills. I remember vividly when you guys went to a shul when your kids were small, and one of your kids turned to you and said, "I see the rabbi in the shul, a different shul. I see the cantor, but where's the Nat?" There was nobody like Nat. He was not just our Gabbai. 60 plus years, he was Gabbai par excellence. He did so with love and lollipops, with Torah comments, and yes, with interrupting and correcting Rabbi students. He always did so with a smile and a gleam in his eye. In the process, Nat raised a proud generation into Yiddishkeit. Generation after generation of proud Jewish adults, like our new president, our Shul Gil Wiesenek. And when we decided, thanks to the generosity of Ben-Avi and Gladstein, to dedicate our chapel to the Taubenfelds, they were receiving people in the Taubenfeld chapel, we knew that Nat was too humble to agree to be honored. So we approached our partner in mitzvah, B. B persuaded Nat, to our great benefit. As I stated on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, Nat was the heart of our shul, heart Jew, spiritual Jew, par excellence. He was a revered CAI past president, Major Balstaka. He donated generously to meet our needs, even before we thought to ask. Michael Bressman, our development director, is here, and Michael asked people for money. He could never ask Nat for money, because Nat would walk in the door, give him money, and say, ask other people for money. As just one among countless examples, when Rabbi Ari Lucas was hired to be my associate and soon-to-be successor, even before we approached donors for our two rabbis' fund, Nat immediately donated $5,000. He said, we must support our new rabbi-to-be. As a visionary, he always was seeking ways to make Caldwell into the best shul we possibly could be. In recent years, he came forward to push us to sponsor concerts and special events, major events, to bring credit to our shul. The Rick Rack concert for Hanukkah, the 613 a cappella group for Yom HaAtzmaut, at a time when we were blessed to honor Nat and Dee. Rabbi, he said, I want to bring all ages together. I want to keep CAI on the map as the first class synagogue that it is. The Taubenfeld family has requested that donations in loving memory of Nat be sent here to CAI to a new Nat and B. Taubenfeld Special Events Fund to keep Nat's vision alive into the future. Nat was our most amazing governor. He did so with Kavanah. When I arrived in town, people told me CAI is a unique shul. It has Rabbi Ur, who davened beautifully in his own right, and then the cantor in the congregation, meaning Nat. When the Taubenfelds first joined B'nai Torah in Boca, Nat was invited to daven in the preliminary service. B'nai Torah's rabbi, David Steinhardt, had been our intern here for 4 years. He approached the sanctuary and he heard the davening. He said, I hear Caldwell. It's unique, it's Nat. Nat's melody has been CAI's spiritual song. At weekday minyan, he was the heart of the minyan. On Shabbat, on Yom Tov, especially the high holidays, his nusach is permanently implanted into our souls. Cantor Kaplan noted that in the spring of 1982, when he first came to Caldwell, Nat was one of the first people that Cantor met. Here, said Rabbi Silverstein to Cantor wrote, Nat will show you the melodies that we use. So the Cantor sat down in the Goodwin Chapel at the time. Nat sang melody after melody into the Cantor's old cassette recorder. Some of the melodies the Cantor said he recognized, but they were clearly Natified. Nat would sing them a little bit differently from everybody else. And of course, Nat's way was the way we would sing them in our shul. Because who could try to fight against such a powerful neshama? Cantor wrote, when our daughter Simona was 8 years old, she stood at the sanctuary's reader's table and she blared out, I'm like Nat. I don't need a microphone. Nat was the ultimate mensch. No one could possibly surpass Nat's amazing sensitivity to assist people in need. Nat set CAI's tone of welcoming newcomers who arrive in our shul. You can't arrive in our shul without somebody going up to greet you, even after the greeters outside have greeted you. Michael Gressman, our wonderful new development director, told me that when he first came to visit on a Shabbos morning, he sat down and Nat, as he was wont to do, came over, introduced himself to Michael, and insisted that Michael sit with Nat, that he not be by himself. Nat discreetly has donated time and time again to my rabbi's fund, shtika, quietly, anonymously, to help specific people in need. Nat has gently comforted the mourners, reached out to the sick, and so much more. When I heard on the verge of Rosh Hashanah about the tragic death of Sue and Steve Eisen's grandson, Hinda's son, Avi and Sarah's nephew, my immediate instinct was to go to Nat for solace. The Taubenfeld family recognizes that as deeply as they knew Nat, they also know that there are so many Nat stories floating out there that they hadn't heard. They are soliciting Nat stories. Want Nat stories to be written down and shared. Grandson Sam has provided some cards, but emails and other ways, those will be put together as a family legacy. So I'm going to conclude my remarks by offering a few personal comments, my recollections of Nat. Nat was like a spiritual father to me. My parents and Rita's parents still revered Nat. Rita's father, a Holocaust survivor, early on said, "At last, a gabbai without an accent." The Silversteins and the Neufelds were all moved by Nat's authenticity, his piety. My children revered Nat. Rebecca, my daughter, heard the Eastern European tradition born anew through Nat's davening. David, my son, loved Nat dearly. He insisted, of course, that Nat receive one of the brachas, seven brachas at his wedding. And, Nat's kids told me that Nat told them he felt whenever David would teach Torah here. When David started his first year as Sgan Rosh Yeshiva, Shivat Oraita in the old city of Jerusalem, he asked the students to introduce themselves. One of the students introduced himself and said he was from West Orange, Jacob Kellum. So David said, "West Orange?" He said, "I grew up in Caldwell." Jacob said, "My grandparents lived in Caldwell." David said, "Who are your grandparents?" He said, "Nat and Vitaly." David said, "That deserves a hug." In addition to that, Rita, of course, felt so powerfully connected to our Nat, voice of the survivors. As for me, Nat was my partner in so many ways in building CAI into what we have become. I'm teaching the book of Daniel, and they talk about the king offers the interpreters of his dreams that they will be part of the triumvirate to govern with the king on top. Nat always talked about the triumvirate here. Rabbi Silverstein, Cantor Kaplan, and Susan Work. The person on top was Nat. In 1979, we were a wonderful shul, but we needed renewal. The search committee, in theory, was poised for change. But when the new 30-year-old rabbi was engaged, the reality of change was daunting to them, and so they were reluctant. Nat intervened. He said, "We interviewed 30 excellent rabbis. We hired the best of them. Yes, Rabbi Silverstein is much younger than we are. He's the age of our children. But we were attracted to his vision for institutional transformation. We must support him and follow his lead into the future. The rest is history." Fast forwarding that, one of my final conversations with Nat, he said to me, after 41 years of partnership, he said, "Rabbi Silverstein," interestingly, he never called me Alan. "Rabbi Silverstein, I'm so proud of you. You had an inspiring vision for our shul, and you brought it to fulfillment. You recruited, gave space, and partnered with a unique triumvirate, Cantor Kaplan, Susan Work. Your presidencies of so many Jewish organizations put our shul on the map. In 1979, people told me that the Jewish future of conservative shuls required the liberalization of ritual. But Rabbi Silverstein, you maintain our shul as a strong venue of Jewish traditionalism. And you know what? We grew to 900 households, the largest membership of any conservative synagogue in the state. And Rabbi, along with our cantor and our rebbeim, we uniquely excel in the magnitude of attendance and davening, Shabbat, holidays, weekdays. More than anywhere else, we now have hundreds of adult learners each week in our adult wing. Susan work has elevated our educational programs to great heights for children of all ages. The Rabbi, in the process, we have produced dozens upon dozens of rabbis, cantors, Jewish educators, Jewish communal workers, Torah readers, prayer readers, and synagogue officers. And Rabbi, with your vision and the encouragement that you gave, we have selected a wonderful young rabbi, Ari Lucas, through a unique succession plan moving on into the future. So what I'm saying to you, Rabbi, is that we have placed Caldwell's imprint upon American and world Jewry. I'm so proud of you. Words cannot